If it's excitement you want, thrills you seek, action you crave, then remember, adventure does have a name.
Hey, what's going on, guys? War Brothers Collectibles here. Welcome back to another video. Welcome back to the channel. I'm currently wearing my Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade worsted leather jacket in lambskin. 2 years on, this is still my go-to jacket. I absolutely love it. And I'm also wearing my Raiders of the Lost Ark t-shirt from Hollywood Studios in Disney World. So for this video, with all this Indiana Jones stuff that I've been doing, for this video I just decided why not rank all the Indiana Jones films, and like, for my opinion, what do I rank them from my least favourite to my most favourite. Now, I enjoy all the films in their own way. There's some obviously that I like more than others, and there's aspects in every film that I enjoy thoroughly. They are all thoroughly entertaining adventure movies. So yeah, this is my ranking from least favourite all the way through to favourite. So that's 5 films. So grab a snack and let's get started. So I guess it's no surprise for most people here that my least favourite, so number 5 on this list, is Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I don't have this on 4K or any other media, so this is just part of the Blu-ray box set. I was just showing the poster art there. So I really need to explain my kind of history with this movie. So I don't think there's been any other movie in my life that had more of an impact than this movie did. For good or for the worse. So when the Indiana Jones 4 was announced, like, so excited, like, I was asking my parents for years, when are they doing Indiana Jones 4? When are they doing Indiana Jones 4? And back in the day, there was I think it still exists, but there was an Indiana Jones official website, and then there was an official, like, fan website called the Raiders Net. You know, I was always on there checking out any news, any updates. And then eventually it was officially announced they would be releasing a 4th Indiana Jones movie. So of course, super excited. 2 years before I think it came out, like, mega excited. And then there was an announcement finally saying a trailer is going to be released on this particular date. Say it was a year before or a few months before. I can't remember exactly. The film was released, but so I kept checking the website every day. It was counting down to the trailer for the film, you know. And then I woke up on that day. It was a school day, but straight on the computer, went on the website. Oh, the trailer's not up yet. I have to wait all day. So I waited all day in school, got home, straight on the computer, bam, the trailer was up on the official Indiana Jones website. I didn't really use YouTube back then. Watched it, you know, and everyone's got to admit that teaser trailer for Crystal Skull is amazing. You know, it really builds and builds. It talks about the original trilogy, and then builds up to seeing Indiana, and you're like, he's coming, and then the hat gets thrown on the floor, and then you see the silhouette, and he walks over to the hat and picks it up. You know, just classic. It was just goosebumps. I'll never forget that moment, seeing the trailer for this movie for the first time. You know, I was blown away. I was just so excited. And then pretty much from when the trailer was released all the way up until the film itself came out, I was watching that trailer every day, like, without fail. Every single day I was watching it. I was slowing it down. I was analysing the footage. So hyped. Like, I can't even describe the feeling, just like the excitement for this movie. I guess it was what The Phantom Menace was for many people back in '99. This was the equivalent of that for me. You know, I was so excited for Crystal Skull. And then a second trailer came out, and again, I was watching them every single day. And then when the film was closer to being released, would watch the first 3 Indiana films every single night, one each night, you know, back to back, just keep watching them, so excited. Any magazines, like Empire Film Magazine, bought them. Any articles on Crystal Skull I was getting, I was saving, I was reading. You know, the hype for this movie, I just can't describe. Like, so excited for this film. Even The Force Awakens didn't have the same excitement for me as Crystal Skull did, you know, the anticipation. So this film in my life was just insanely hyped. the release date was coming out, you know, I knew when it was going to come out. I begged my father to take me on the opening night, but family was busy and we couldn't go, so he promised me we would go the next day. So it'd only been out like a day, like half a day. I went out, I think it was on the Saturday or whatever. Went the very next day anyway, saw it. You know, cinema was packed. You could feel the atmosphere. It was just super hyped, so excited. And I was enjoying it to start off with, you know, I really was. I was like, oh my God, yeah, he's back. I was smiling, I was happy. I was like, oh my God, this is going to be great. This is going to be great. And then I can't really remember like when I decided I'm not really enjoying this. I think definitely the monkey swinging scene where Shia LaBeouf swings through the jungle like Tarzan, that was like a killer for me. I was like, oh my God. I just came out and I was like, I didn't like it, like, but I was in denial. Like my family was like, oh, did you enjoy that? And I was like, yeah, it was good. I was totally in denial just to save face because I hyped this movie up for pretty much over a year at this point. There's certain things that I do really enjoy. You know, I enjoy the jungle chase up until the Shia LaBeouf monkey swinging scene, but the whole truck chase through the jungle is thrilling, you know, and it's good to see Indiana. He's jumping on the cars and fighting everyone, and it's just really exciting, well done sequence. And then the giant ant scene, and where he fights the Russian colonel, really enjoyed that. You know, it was great to see Harrison Ford, you know, still in super fit condition, and, you know, really great to see him in the fight scenes. And the whole boat thing going down the Amazon River, you know, that was exciting. I enjoyed the opening scene in Area 51, where the Ark of the Covenant, you know, is kept at the end of Raiders. You know, really enjoyed that. Thought that was super cool. But no, I just did not enjoy this film. It was just too silly for me. Just too many silly moments, like the gophers or whatever they're called, the beavers at the beginning, and then locking himself in the fridge to protect himself a nuclear blast. And just didn't. And the whole alien thing is okay. I mean, if anyone's going to accept aliens, it's going to be me, because, you know, reading the Indiana Jones novels, there's certainly much crazier stuff that happens in those expanded universe novels. But I don't know, I just didn't like the way they did it with this Lost City thing, and it was interdimensional beings, and the whole character of Harold Oxley, and Shia LaBeouf, I just did not really enjoy that aspect of it. Great to see Karen Allen back as Marion Ravenwood, but ultimately didn't enjoy this film at all when I first seen it. I went again to the cinema like a week or two later by myself this time to watch it, just trying to accept it and find something in it that I really enjoyed, and just trying to be like, no, it's a good film. And then I think my opinion did change at that point, and I went home going, yeah, it was good, I enjoyed it. You know, telling all my relatives, go and see it. And then when the DVD came out, I was adamant, have to buy the DVD, the 2-disc DVD set with all the bonus features on, get the DVD, watched it. But it just never grabbed me. It's never improved, really. It's okay, it's entertaining, I can watch it, but it's certainly one that I hardly ever return to. If I'm having an Indiana Jones marathon and I've got completion anxiety, yes, I will put it on, but super disappointed for this fourth entry when it came out. You know, such a major letdown, in my opinion. Did not, again, you people could say I totally overhyped it, and I'll hold my hands up, yes I did, and I did that with The Force Awakens as well. Of course, it was never going to live up to my expectations. I don't know what I expected, but, you know, it was Indiana Jones, like, and I was young. I was like, oh my God, this is going to be amazing, and it really wasn't. I think it's the first film that truly really gutted me and left me super disappointed. I think it really was. Again, it's because I hyped it up so much, but even to this day, like, I don't really return to this one. It is certainly my least favourite in the entire series. So, of course, this was Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Next up is Dial of Destiny. Now, I do enjoy this film. You know, it's not to say, oh my God, I didn't enjoy it. I really did enjoy this film in the cinema, you know, and I came out and the first thing I said was, it's better than Crystal Skull, which to this day, I still believe that to be true. You know, it is better than Crystal Skull. Great to see Harrison Ford back, and he, again, is still super fit and really good physical condition. You know, he was in his 80s at this point, but it was great to see him back. It was just a little bit too long, I think, from Crystal Skull. to this film. You know, it was a really, really long time. They had problems trying to find an artifact, a MacGuffin as they call it, and, you know, trying to find what direction to go with the script. You know, will Shia LaBeouf return and things like that. So it was in the works for many, many years, and they had so many writers on the project. Steven Spielberg left the project and all that, and James Mangold took over. I enjoy the opening sequence in the World War II, where they de-age Harrison Ford. I think that was pretty cool, and it's still not perfect, the de-aging process, but it's still pretty cool to see, and I think it works. And it was quite exciting, you know, an exciting chase scene on the train, you know, and he's on the motorbikes, you know, trying to get on the train, and then there's this whole thing with the Nazis on the train, using his whip and everything. It is a cool opening sequence, it really is. And I like Mads Mikkelsen as the villain. I think he does a good job for what the source material is. No issues with that. I'm not really a fan of Helena Shaw, I think her name is. My mind went blank then. Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character anyway, I'm not really a fan of her, to be honest. I wish John Rhys Davies had a bigger role in the film, but again, it was nice to see him back. He was missing from Crystal Skull. The whole time travel aspect, again, I don't really have a problem with, not so much, because again, more crazy things have happened in the Indiana Jones novels, you know, and they're all about that supernatural element anyway, so time travel is not too unbelievable for an Indiana Jones film, in my opinion. That is okay, you know. I do like the whole dial thing. The tuk-tuk chase, I think that's what they're called, in Morocco, is it? I think it's Morocco. I really need to rewatch this film again. I've only seen it a handful of times actually since the cinema, but that whole like car chase sequence, if you will, is exhilarating, you know, and it is certainly back to the formula of a globe-trotting adventure. Crystal Skull again just stayed in the United States, mainly South America, and this again was a globe-trotting adventure, which was great to see. Good action sequences, great opening sequence, well shot. The ending, it wraps things up, it does, but, you know, in wanting to stay in the past with Archimedes and things like that, and then him just being knocked out and him waking up in his apartment, not really a fan of that, but it was nice to see him reunite with Marion Ravenwood at the end from their sort of separation in the time period from Crystal Skull to this film. And I was satisfied with it, you know, happy in the cinema. I think I got this the Christmas that year on 4K, and it's really good on 4K. I do enjoy it, and I've watched it a couple of times since. I do enjoy it more than Crystal Skull, so that is The Dial of Destiny. Now, this was a really tough one, because this is not to say I dislike this film. I, in fact, love Temple of Doom. I really, really enjoyed this film. It was a toss-up between Raiders and Temple of Doom, but I decided to go with this one next as number 3 on the list. It is a great movie, you know, and it's become more appreciated as time's gone on over the years. You know, it was criticised back in the day for the story, for its violence, for the stereotypes of India and things like that. But now it's appreciated for its fast pace, suspense, the creativity and the imagination of the story. Is really cool, you know, and it's so good to see that being appreciated these days. As a kid, I always enjoyed it. I mean, you know, the opening scene is just, you know, it's just like James Bond, and then there's no going to college and him being told of an artifact and he goes off on this quest. You know, it is very much Indiana Jones in the wild, if you will. You know, he's not in the school environment or anything like that. He's just thrown straight away into a survival situation, and then they make their way to this village in India, and they are asked to recover one of the Shankara stones that protects the village. And then, you know, it's, you know, the children of the village is all enslaved in this temple, in this catacombs, to search for the other 2 stones by this thuggy cult, this cult leader that's got a lot to do with human sacrifice, black magic. A lot of really dark themes here, you know, and I do love how dark it is. You know, it's kind of violent and kind of scary at times, maybe especially for younger viewers. It never bothered me as a kid, by the way. I was kind of always okay with it. You know, you've got hearts being ripped out, you've got giant creepy crawlies, you know, it is quite different to Raiders. You know, it does delve into hell, essentially. It's Indiana Jones in hell. And he's definitely out of that, I wouldn't say comfort zone, but, you know, it is Indiana Jones in the wild, as I say, you know, so it's just a straight up adventure movie. And I do also have to say that this is the one film that I do believe Indiana Jones is at his most heroic. You know, he's being the hero here, you know, because in the Crystal Skull teaser trailer, it says he saved the cradle of civilization, referring to this film. You know, not only does he save the children from black magic and slavery of the village, you know, he pretty much saves the entire world, because Mola Ram and the Kali Thuggee cult plan to take over the entire world and enslave them in the blood of the Kali and have them all zombies, essentially. So I'd hate to say zombies, but you know what I mean. They drink the blood of the Kali and become under the spell and things like that, become a cult member, if you will. They were going to enslave the entire world. So Indiana Jones, you know, he is the most heroic here. He saves the entire world from being taken over by this extreme Thuggee cult. And it's just, you know, the stunts in this are just top, you know, first class. They're just amazing. You know, the whole minecart thing and escaping the mines, freeing the children. You know, the music by John Williams, again, is probably one of the best here. It's absolutely incredible. The action sequences, again, the stunt work, everything is just top notch. It's just first class. And the last 40 minutes of the film are just absolutely incredible, right up to the bridge scene, the finale of the bridge. And he chops the bridge in half, and everyone, you know, is falling off it, and they've got to try and get up, and, you know, there's a massive fight on the bridge. You know, it's just such exciting stuff. It's an absolute blast to watch, and it's so entertaining. And I really do love this film. And I've got to also say that this is probably the one I watch the most, actually. I always throw Temple of Doom on just for its sheer entertainment value. You know, this is a great movie, and I really do love it a lot. I probably watch this multiple times a year, actually, and it's probably the most out of the original trilogy, as I say, that I actually return to, like, the most frequently here. Temple of Doom is an awesome film. I can understand why people were disappointed back in the day, and I can understand still why people don't like it. But I overlook those kind of things. I don't have an issue with Willie Scott or Short Round. I quite enjoy them as the love interest and the sidekick. Mola Ram is an awesome villain. You know, he's really sinister and evil, like really evil guy. And it, you know, as I say, stunt work absolutely incredible. And, you know, Temple of Doom is a great film. So me putting this on number 3 on my list is not to say I dislike it. I really do enjoy this movie. Next up is Raiders of the Lost Ark. You know, absolute classic adventure movie. You know, this is the best for most people. You know, the original is always going to be the best. And there was a time period in my life as a child where every single Saturday morning I'd get up early, about 7 o'clock, and my dad had this on VHS. Every Saturday morning for a good number of years, like religiously, I would always put Raiders of the Lost Ark on and just spend my Saturday morning watching Raiders. You know, I just love this movie. Last Crusade was the first Indiana Jones film I actually watched. I only ever watched Raiders and Temple of Doom when they were on television at Christmas time. So I actually saw Last Crusade first. But then, yeah, I enjoy Raiders just as much as Temple of Doom. That's why it was just so hard to place them at 2 and 3. You know, Karen Allen's-Many and Ravenwood love it. You know, love the Ark of the Covenant as the artifact. Great characters, great villains, amazing action sequences. Just that classic opening scene with the idol and the boulder and the tarantulas, and the whole thing in Egypt with Salah. You know, the marketplace scene. You know, the thing where he just pulls the gun out and shoots the swordman. You know, it's just hilarious. It's just brilliant. You know, it's just so clever and just so intelligently done. You know, the Well of the Souls, you know, the set pieces, you know, it's just absolutely incredible. You know, and this film does stand the test of time. It's not dated in any way. You know, it's still incredible. It's still so exciting to watch. And I'm still getting people into this film, you know, to this day. I still say, oh, have you watched Raiders of the Lost Ark? No, go home and watch it right now. And they come back, yeah, it was amazing. I loved it. And I'm, you know, it is amazing. People just love this movie. It is one of the best movies ever made, in my opinion. The whole truck chase at the end, you know, is absolutely amazing. jumping off on the truck from the horseback, fighting the Nazis on the truck, throwing the Nazis off, and then Indy being thrown underneath the truck and having him put his whip underneath the truck and dragged along the floor, and then he climbs back on the truck. It's just such an exciting sequence, and it is so amazing even to this day, that it's all practical effects and stunt work. There's of course no CGI here. It is all old school Hollywood done. Raiders of the Lost Ark is an awesome film. So if you're watching this list and you've never seen it, well, you've heard all the spoilers that I've talked about so far. But Raiders of the Lost Ark is amazing, and I recommend it, that you must watch it. And then last but not least, it goes without saying, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade is my ultimate all-time favourite Indiana Jones movie. What can I say about this movie that's not been said before? It is absolutely incredible. This was the first Indiana Jones film that I saw as a child. My dad had this on VHS. And it was just one rainy day that I was really ill. I used to be really sick as a child with asthma. And I was really ill at the time. And my dad was like, we're going to watch Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. And I had no idea what that was, but I knew it sounded amazing. I, did not know what to expect. And I was completely blown away by this, like a 6-year-old. It was absolutely amazing. It changed my life, this movie, it really did. And I still watch it multiple times a year, and it always makes me smile, always makes me happy, really leaves you with that good, amazing feeling at the end of it. It's such a triumphant ending to the original trilogy. And, Sean Connery as Indiana Jones's father, was an inspired, amazing decision. It's legendary. Their chemistry is just absolutely awesome. The battle scene in the desert with the tank, that's one of the best action sequences ever filmed, in my opinion. It's just, what can I say? It's just incredible. Again, all practical effects and stunt work. He's got to stop a tank, essentially. Indiana Jones versus a tank. He's on horseback, then he disables the guns, then he jumps on the tank, then he gets thrown off the tank, then he's got to save his father from the tank, and things like that. It's just an inspired, amazing, original sequence that is still amazing even to this day. I can put on the last 30 minutes of Last Crusade just as a casual watch in any time, any day. Just put it on, and it still thrills me, and it's still amazing. And I just love this movie. And then the ending as well. It's not about getting the artifact. It's about family. It's about relationships, what we mean to each other, as fathers and sons, as parents to your children. It's a really human, heartwarming ending to the film. He's like, Indiana still tries to get the artifact, and his dad's like, no, just let it go. This relationship's more important. Life is more important than treasure. And I just really love that aspect of it. It's just amazing to end on that note. It's a really heartfelt, epic touch to end on. It's just, what can I say? I can say so much about this. I can talk all day about this film. I've done multiple videos of this film on my channel. This film changed my life. It's pretty much my favorite movie of all time. Love Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Just everything about it is awesome. Never get bored of it, never get tired of watching it. Amazing, just like the first time I ever seen it. Incredible. Love this movie so much. So this was my ultimate all-time favourite #1 Indiana Jones movie. That was just my ranking of all 5 Indiana Jones movies. Please let me know in the comments down below what order you would put the films in. What Indiana Jones film is your all-time favourite? What film do you like the least? Is it Crystal Skull? Is it Dial of Destiny? Is it even Temple of Doom? Or any of the others? My list was probably expected by most people. There's not really any surprising choices, I don't think, here. But if you enjoyed this video, please give this video a thumbs up, and please consider subscribing to my channel. And I will see you again very soon in another video. Take care.